there's an entire industry on YouTube of 20-something guys telling you how to get rich. And these guys have not lived life. They have not done much. Maybe they might have knocked a few balls out of the park, but unless you've fallen down and gotten up, it's difficult to say that you've got a lot of experience. You know, winning one or two is good, you know, in your 20s, awesome. But I want to get advice from somebody that's my age or older, that's been in the arena longer and played the game longer, so that I can feel comfortable that I would trade my position for theirs, right? Ask yourself, would I trade my position for them, you know, to start with, but also how much experience do they have? Do they have decades more experience, or are they the same age as you? Are they younger than you? Again, you know, for the life of me, I don't understand the attraction to the glam and the glitz of the watches, the expensive, you know, showcases in the background of a lot of these young kids. You're just not going to get the same level of experience and advice and usefulness out of somebody that's a little more seasoned. And all of these guys, some of us even shared some of our business coaches, and we had some interesting conversations around that, where, you know, we were talking about how they were helpful to me versus helpful to them, and some of the lessons and takeaways, and other people that you might need an introduction to, which is also one of the other very useful, strong areas, is you can get introductions to people that you may not otherwise have access to by putting yourself in these rooms. I've always said, you know, if you're the smartest guy in the room, put yourself in a better room. You can also buy your way into a better room as well. In some of these events, masterminds, you know, conferences, you know, depending on what it is that you're looking for. The other note that I made here is every single one of these guys had a passive income source. Now, there's no totally, completely passive income sources that exist out there. There's some management that exists within it. If you have a rental property or a building, 8-plex or 32 doors or something like on it, there's always going to be some draw pulling you in to deal with some bullshit. Okay. Certain things might be somewhat passive. Like if you bought Bitcoin in 2010 and sat on it until today, you'd be worth a lot of money if you bought, you know, like a few hundred Bitcoin at that time. So there are some very rare examples, but the vast majority of the cases require some work. But every single person out there on these events and retreats and places doesn't just leave money in a business, doesn't just sit on reinvesting the money in the business. You have to take it out of the business so that you don't have all of your eggs in one basket. You leave all of your eggs in one basket, you can run into a pretty significant problem when conditions change. The conditions always change. Anybody can sail a ship when the sea's calm, right? Can you sail a ship when the fucking storm comes in and the wind's blowing at 50 knots and you get the gusts and the waves and all this sort of stuff and the squalls? You're always going to be tested when things get harder, and they don't always stay steady state, perfect conditions on the seas. Weather changes. It always does. So you have to diversify and get your money out of one area and distribute it in other areas. And I would say the same thing would apply to anybody out there. I mean, like whether you're making $50,000 or $100,000 a year, don't put it all in the stock market. Maybe you want to take a little bit, put it in precious metals. Maybe you want to take a little bit and buy a little bit of Bitcoin, put it on a cold storage wallet and, you know, put it somewhere safe, or, you know, take your keys and put them somewhere safe. You get the idea though, right? You always want to make sure you diversify, and every single one of these guys does it. The other thing that I jotted down here is working on the business, not in it. I love doing road trips. You guys know this if you followed me for a while. Rallies, road trips. You know, sometimes they're 3-4 days. Sometimes they're 5-6 day ones. I'm doing one in September. Bunch of my friends from Toronto are heading down to the Appalachians, and I've got a few of the guys from my community, the 1%, meeting us in some of the southern states to rip through the mountains. You can't do that if you're working in your business, if you can't take time off. There's two distinct categories of entrepreneurs that I've seen out there where, you know, we'll be in a chat group. Let's maybe just talk about cars, you know, as an example. You know, we'll be in a chat group and it's like, hey guys, 2 months from now on these dates, from this date to that date, we're doing a road trip. Who's in? And then there's always like the core guys that work on their business instead of in it. They put systems in place. They have people working for them. They can take the time off. It's not even a thought. It's just like, yep, it's in my calendar. I'm good. And then there's the other contingent of guys where it's like, I can't, I'm working, I'm busy, it's my whatever season. There's some reason why they can't make it, and they're working in their business. And if you consistently work in a business instead of on a business, you're always going to be cuffed to that business. It's going to own you. And I don't see the point in owning a business, running a business, or even creating one if you don't have the flexibility and freedom to do what you want when you want. To me, that's one of the biggest benefits of entrepreneurship is you have the ability to do what you want when you want. You want to take a vacation, you can do it. You want to go on a mastermind, you can do it. You want to travel on certain dates, slap them in the calendar, boom, you do it. If you structure your business in such a way that you're working on it instead of in it, which is what all these guys were doing, they were working on their business, not in it. They have the flexibility to maneuver and do things. And again, there was guys in there from all walks of life, from buying and holding domains in certain niches that they like to buy and hold and sell in, to guys selling tracks to Bobcats and, Kubotas or whatever the hell those track vehicles are called. So it's not necessary that you have to be latched to a location if you structure it right. Really, really important to remember that. And again, I've got the little ticker over here running underneath the screen. It's in the description and pinned in the live chat. If you guys want to grab the School of Entrepreneurship, I really do break down all of these things in quite a bit of detail so that you have some understanding around building a business. There's really two types of people the School of Entrepreneurship is built for. It's built for those that don't have a business and want to get out of the rat race and stop lining their boss's pocket with gold and do something for themselves. Or it's for the guys doing something right now in a business, but it's not profitable, it's not scalable, it's not easy, lucrative, or fun. It's difficult, it's annoying, it's hard, it's limiting. It forces them to work in it. And again, I just don't see the point in that. Like, why leave corporate world and leave a W-2 or a T4 type of job to go take on the risk of running a business if you don't have the flexibility to maneuver, right? So that's the other thing too. Best businesses, man. Always, put yourself in a position where you're not in it all the time. Now, the next point that I have is there's always a grind period. So you will have to work in something for a specific period of time, not into perpetuity. You need to structure it so that you can have the freedom of your time, but there's always going to be a grind period, and you got to never let up. There's so many examples and so many stories shared where difficulty, adversity, obstacles became a problem for people. There's a good book, I've recommended it before, The Obstacle is a Way. It often talks about how the obstacle can become the way. You can go around the obstacle, under it, over it, move the obstacle. You can make the obstacle the solution to your problem. There's some good examples in that book, but there's always going to be a grind period. Everybody is going to go through some kind of a grind somehow, somewhere, for some period of time. Again, it shouldn't be in a perpetuity. You shouldn't be grinding for 10 years in your business. It's something that should take a good amount of your time. Could be 6, 8, 16 months. But it's going to be a requirement. Everybody's going to have to do it when they get something off the ground. I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here, and pin down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.